We're on Mastermind Creations, their reformatted line. This is R48 Optus Pexus, their Super Cop. Really nice version of an IDW, kind of also Stormbringer-ish design for Optimus Prime or Orion Pax. Hey TM, thanks for pointing people over this way. One thing I will note is they have a nice gold sticker here, which says reformatted 10th anniversary. So I can't believe it's been 10 years already that that we've had reformatted. One of my favorite lines still to this date. On the side here, we just got Super Cop R48, all that stuff here. Some more of this render. This is an actual photo on this side. Same thing on the top here. And on the back, it's really trying to demonstrate a lot of the posability. So if you guys haven't been keeping up to date with this release, one of the earmarks or cornerstones that they're trying to push with this one is the unbelievable amount of articulation it has. Hey Winston, how's it going? That this figure has. So really excited about that. All right, and here at the bottom, nothing much. All right, out of the packaging. 2 people downvoted already. I'm pretty sure it's T-Man and TM978. T-Man978 and TM Reviews. Actually, I think TM is actually live. T-Man's also live streaming. Apparently, he's live streaming Fortnite, so I don't think he'll be here. All right, let's see. So this is what we get out of packaging. You get the comic book / instructions. So you get the comics here. The artwork in this is really phenomenal. You also get a look at the Grimlock and the other Dinobots. As far as I know, that Grimlock that they have, IDW Grimlock, has been put on hold. So I'm wondering if this is not on hold anymore. Hey, Inu Tabby. Hey, Katos. Hey, Mike. But I'm hoping that Grimlock comes out. I think Planet X is doing one as well. But the instructions are pretty good. But one thing I wanted to note is that it's about 1, 2, 3, 4 pages or so of instructions of how to transform this guy. And then they have another like 1, 2, 3, 3.5 pages just talking about all the articulations. So there's a lot going on here. Stuff that we get. So aside from, I don't know where I put the stat card. He does have a stat card. Now I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to look around real quick to see where it might have fallen out. But he does get a bunch of accessories here. He has a matrix of leadership. We'll show off some of the functionality here. He has 2 arm cannons that can also be used for, well, actually, I guess 4 arm cannons if I'm being technical. 1 for each arm. And then he has actually a couple of extra fingers, just in case you damage yours, apparently. I haven't had any issues with it, but now I'm wondering where the stat card is. I hope I didn't lose it. More importantly, I hope I didn't throw it away. One of the things extra that you may or may not get, depending on where you ordered from and where you're located, are these 2 guns. So he does come with 2 guns stock, which are in there. We'll take a look at that. But there's also a gray version that is a bonus. Apparently, it's for outside of the Asia region. Some people, I think in the Asia region, got like the original version of the head mold. So you had an extra head sculpt. While the other areas got the bonus guns. So here we do have the regular guns here and the bonus ones. So depending on where you get it, you may or may not get that. Again, you may get an extra head instead. So here is Optus Pexus, their version of Optimus Prime / Orion Pax after he gives up the Matrix of Leadership. I forget exactly which story this is from, but it is one of the IDW ones. The original design is very much taken by Milne and updated just a little bit to this this version that they had in his I think, what was it? I don't remember exactly what series, but in any case, it's a really nice version. The design is really interesting while still having a lot of the kind of key earmarks of an Optimus Prime design. Even in the transformation, it's very much the same. You'll see that the legs are still in the back here. The chest still has kind of these windshields, even though it has a different cab design here. Nice big chunky wheels. He still has the gas tanks that are very iconic on the side. So, and even the leg grills and everything. So, the Ultimate looks really nice. There's not a whole lot of articulation as you would expect. The wheels all do roll. No rubber wheels here. The one functionality that he does have is you can actually open up his matrix chamber in alt mode. So really quick, I'll show you just so we can show you, and we'll take it out later. But you can actually take off these sections here. And then if you look on one side, it has a set of tabs or slots. So you want to pull this matrix holder out. You want to slot that in, push that in, and then you can show off his matrix even in alt mode. And it closes up and tabs in securely. You can store basically everything in his alt mode. So these have a little tab that go on either side of his hip skirts in alt mode or gas tanks. Those go there. These cannons can tab in sideways on the side of the arms here, and they actually do extend and contract. I believe for the alt mode, you need to have it pulled back, like so. Yeah, just so you get a little bit of clearance near that knee pad, like so. And as for the guns, one set of guns you can store by going ahead, and you'll see that there's actually a tab here and a tab here. It's an over-under tab, so don't try to just jam it together. You have to do an over-under kind of deal. Tab that in, and these two slots here will slot in right there. Hey, everyone. Thanks for all the comments. Sorry, I'll try to get to some of these during some breaking points, but right now I'm just going to keep on marching forward. One thing I will say I noticed right out of the box is that the red on here is painted. It's not bare plastic. It's very noticeable, at least to me. When I saw it, I was like, hey, this is definitely painted. So I actually hit up Mastermind Creations, and they told me that the red is indeed fully painted on the exterior. You can tell the difference. Like, if you look on the inside here, it's a nice kind of almost like a flat or satin finish on the paint. It's really nice and clean. But they did say when they are going to do another reissue of this, because it was so expensive, that a future reissue will not have paint on the red. So I don't know if you guys are paint fans. It might not be such a big deal to you, but if you are really interested in paint, you might want to get this first release. Anyway, this is it for the original, the alt mode, not the original mode, the alt mode. But it does show the original guns. I'll just show these off real quick. But how they work is they do extend and contract, and the handle comes down. So here is what they look like in both modes. Hey, AOG Shocks. So this is a transformable gun. All right. Let's see. I don't have any of my reformatted guys in alt mode, but here you'll get an idea with Streak, my trusty Streak. He's a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, a little bit taller. He is actually very compact. He does compact in alt mode, and it's a very small box. I was very surprised for an Optimus figure to come in such a small box, but it looks really nice. All right, so let's go ahead and get into transformation. People mostly associate this design with the Stormbringer. It is the original, I think, Don Figueroa's design with Stormbringer, but this is actually based off of the IDW Milne kind of updated design. So it is slightly different. It is very close, but it is different. You'll see that if you Google it, you'll see images of Milne's rendition. You can probably leave a lot of these accessories on, but we're just going to take it off just for ease and not having stuff falling off. So the transformation is really cool. A lot of it is, again, still very reminiscent of what you would think an Optimus design would work. But it does a lot of cool things. So first things first, we're going to come down here and we're going to open up these legs. They split into two halves. And be careful here. This is one small detail. There is a small tab that goes into the arms on either side to lock this into place. And we'll talk more about that when we get back into alt mode. But this is a small detail that is easy to miss. The instructions don't go into so much detail, and there's a lot of hidden tabs here that I want to make sure you're aware of. So once you do that and loosen this up, what I like to do is basically take it at the waist and pull it down, and then pull these up and out of the way to clear out from these kneecaps. Once we're here, since we're already up here, I want to pull these hip skirts down. They're on little gray arms that come down. You want to get them facing forward like so. Go ahead and split the legs. And then they're on, the legs are telescoping. So you want to pull down. They are quite tight, but you want to pull down as much as possible. Once you do that, you want to pull this thigh piece down. This thigh piece, this cover, pull it down until it clicks into place, and it will reveal the front of the hips. The foot is on a set of double hinges that will rock back, and they're very tight. One of the things I will say is the tolerances on this guy are very, very nice and tight, no loose pieces. Except maybe one piece. I'll talk to you about that a little bit later, but it's a very minor piece. One cool detail here is that this piece goes in between the kneecaps here. And you'll see that those pistons actually end up being kind of like working pistons. Once you have these two halves together, you want to squish this down. And you'll see really quickly that when you do the knee articulation, these pistons actually kind of work and move around. So very cool detail there. One thing I do want to point out, you probably want a spudger. I say that and I lost my spudger. All right, well, clearly I'm not very prepared today. We'll get to that later then. But anyway, that's one leg. Second leg, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull down and telescope the leg. If I can manage it. There we go. There's no button or anything like that. We want to get this thigh piece down again. Get the foot on the double hinge all the way rocked down and back. And then get this little blue piece again tabbed in between the top of the knees. Squeeze those two halves together and collapse the shin into the body. Seriously, where did that spudger go? I really do want to use that at some point, but all right, so that's the leg. The legs do have dropping hips for articulation, so you want to rock these back up so you can see how much they extend and come forward. The difference here, you want to rock these back up for normal posing, like so. For some reason, the thigh piece went back up. But yeah, that's the lower body, pretty simple. Now with the upper body, what we want to do is rotate at the waist 180 degrees. Then we're going to start working up here. So the first thing we want to do, here, I'll scooch this up, is untab the wheels. They want to come down and then untab here and bring them to the back, like so. Same thing on this side, down and back. We'll just leave them here for now. Next thing we'll do is deal with the chest. These pieces on either side of the center actually are on a sliding joint. You want to pull these forward until they tab into place or click into place. And then on this double hinge, you want to extend this forward. There's a tab that goes into the upper body. Tab that into place, and then we can collapse the lower part of the waist. That goes in like so. Next up, we're going to untab the arms from this kind of spine piece here. We can just move the arms out for now. The head is sitting there. How we get to that is first we want to rock this spine piece up. We'll go ahead and transform it. It kind of double hinges down and collapses on itself like that. And then we're going to open this. So there is tight tolerances here or clearances here, so just be careful. You're going to want to get this head through. Like so, come on. There we go. So once we get it through like that, I like bringing it all the way up, the spine all the way up, and then we'll reveal the really nice updated head sculpt. We'll look at that more closely in a bit. Once we're there, we're going to finish off the backpack. So once you have the backpack untabbed, you want to rotate it. So these little circle pieces, rotate it, and then swing this up. And you'll see there's a hole here and a corresponding circle here on the backpack. So we want to go ahead and tab that into near the backpack. Again, we want to rotate it. You can bring these pieces to the back. And then we want to tab in like so. You can then pull the spine down. Forms kind of the center of the back. And then these pieces, you can rotate it any which way to get them out of the way. If you like them up like this, you can do that as well. Either way, it doesn't matter. And now we're going to deal with the shoulders, and then we'll finish off the transformation. So the shoulders have a bunch of articulation points, but we'll just go down like this. We want to kind of get the rock inside the body and make sure that this flap is out. We're going to rotate the shoulder piece so the silver detail comes out. We're going to extend the arms, which are also on a double hinge, and then rotate it down at this joint that's hidden inside the actual shoulder armor. We're going to rotate the bicep 90 degrees outwards, and then the fist, you can rotate it into place. Same thing on this side. Extend the elbow and arms, rotate it down. I actually think these shoulder joints are too tight. I'm struggling getting them down. And then once again, we want to get this shoulder joint kind of inside of the main body. Being careful not to damage these parts. Rotate the silver details. And there we have Optus Pexus, or Orion Pax, Optimus Prime, whatever you want to call him, in robot mode. And I think he looks really fantastic. Just even if he didn't have all the articulation that we're going to go into, just the detail that they have on this guy is really great. I think he looks superb. The proportions are really nice. He doesn't have a huge backpack. He does have this stuff back here, but I don't think it's actually that bad looking at all. I think it actually looks really good. Very reminiscent of the G1 Optimus design. The one thing I'll say that is not completely accurate to the Stormbringer and Milne design is that these wheels actually kind of made up the main body and kind of his trap muscles here. I think they didn't do that because they wanted to make this so much more articulated. And if you had these big wheels next to his head, he wouldn't be able to do kind of shoulder raises and all the articulation that we'll go into. But yeah, I think he looks absolutely fantastic. The paint looks great. The translucent details here, the blue, the silver paint, like I said, the red is all fully painted. The blue is bare plastic, and I don't think there's any die cast in this figure, but he does feel quite nice, very, very solid. So let's see here. Like I said, the joints are really, really rock solid once you get them planted. Let's go with the gray gun. So the gray gun, it uses the tabbing mechanism that I actually prefer, which is to have the slot in the gun itself and the tab in the hand. I've always found that these tend to lock in a little bit better than the kind of Masterpiece style. So this just tabs in like so. Come on. Am I missing the tab? There we go. And his fingers can wrap around like so. As I said before, he does have his arm cannons, which tab in and can extend or contract, depending on what look you would like. If I can get that in. These matrix pieces can tab onto the side like we saw in alt mode. I don't think anybody really needs matrix handle storage, but if you want to have him with that, sure. And as far as the other guns that he has, again, remember, this is an over and under tab, not just pulling out. You can tab these into the backpack in two ways. You want to rotate this up. There's kind of a weird, almost trapezoidal slot that's kind of in the middle of the gun. That can tab onto here. This is the only loose tolerance that I found on this entire figure. So this is, it stays on, but it's going to fall off. So I wouldn't recommend that one. I actually think the other one, using this slot on the top and this bigger tab on the bottom, looks better anyway. And you can rotate these up to be shoulder cannons or whatever you want. You can have both of them or single one. Use one as a gun, use both as guns, whatever you want to do. But yeah, I think it looks a little wonky to have them both back here. It makes the backpack really kind of thick. Yeah, Trash, I did say, so they said that after the first reissue that they're not going to paint the red on the second release. So if you're into paint, definitely pick up a first version of this. So yeah, let me get this out of the way. I think he looks really quite nice. There are a couple things that I noticed that made me think that there's going to be an add-on kit, or maybe he's going to be used for a Magnus or something like that to have armor. Because there's certain tabs that I don't see where they're used. So, like, I don't think this is used anywhere. I don't think these tabs on the abdomen are used anywhere. So it makes me think something is like these thigh pieces here look like they could be tabbed in. So I'm just speculating. I really don't know, but it seems like there's something else going on here that could be in the works. I think even here, like this, I don't think these are used either. I haven't done a thorough analysis of it, but it makes me think something else is coming. So yeah, let's see. Oh, so the biggest thing is we're going to go into articulation. Like I said, there's a ton of articulation, so I don't know if I'm going to spend all my time going over this, but there's a ton. Looking at the head sculpt really quickly, this is the updated head sculpt that got fan feedback. I do have some blood. It's not from this figure, though. It's from my last review. All right. Magnus repaint trailer armor kit plan. Oh, so Tef, maybe you're in the know more than me or haven't been paying attention. But let's see here. So his head sculpt does look nice. Nice blue metallic paint. Nice silver on the face mask, the crest, and these little side antenna pieces. I think that looks really great. He has a ball jointed neck right in the base of the head, but he also has an articulated hinge on the base neck plate, and it's hard to use, but this neck piece, this gray neck piece, can also rotate. So with that, he can look really far up. If you get the backpack out of the way, you can probably look straight up because he also has that neck panel here. And you can look down a decent amount. Obviously in 360. Now, we're going to try to get to all the shoulder joints. He does have a butterfly that you can see here. It's not as much as I was expecting. He runs into some interference here. But you can move this a little bit further out of the way to get a little bit more. But still more than you would expect. He has like 3 points of articulation just in hinges. One at the base, one here, and then one inside the shoulder. Then there's a rotational joint inside the base. Rotational joint here. And then a bicep swivel. One part to be careful of in terms of the bicep swivel is you can't get all the way down like this. Like straight down and then rotate it too much because it starts running into some of these molding. So if you're going to rotate the arm, make sure to pull it out just a slight bit, and then you won't have any of those clearance issues. But be mindful of that, okay? Let's see here. His elbow. He has a double jointed elbow, so he gets like a full bend there. What else does he have? We talked about his arm cannons. They slide up and down. His wrists can rotate on a hinge, but they also have a hinge here, which lets you get rotational backwards and rotational down. His thumb is a ball joint, a ball peg at the base, as well as 1-2 additional point hinges. All his other fingers are actually hinged here, not a ball joint. They're hinged so they can go out, have 1, 2, 3 points of articulation per finger. They're all individually articulated and can splay like that. Let's see here. The upper body, it's actually easier if I show you. So once you expand this, you can make use of this double joint as well if you want. I'll show you what I mean. You can expand this and then bend all the way down like this. Crazy amounts. They showed some of that. But in addition to this double hinge they can use, it's actually a ball peg going into the mid-body, as you can see here. And then, as we saw here, he has a swivel and an ab crunch at the lower part. So he has a ton of articulation in just the midsection here. We talked about the chest pieces. We'll talk about the matrix chamber in a little bit, but let's just keep going with the main articulation. He does have hip skirts that move just a little bit. Again, you might need to telescope this to make use of most of that side skirt. I don't like the hip skirt articulation all that much because of the way it's attached. It's basically attached at the bottom here, and it runs into the chest. I wish it could flip up more easily. It flips down like this. It would be far more useful if it flipped up, but you can move this upwards and get a pretty high kick. If you use the drop down hips, you can get really high. You can come out almost 90 degrees, not quite 90 degrees with ratchets going out that way. Ratchets going out forward, I should have mentioned that. And then backwards. Let's see, he does have thigh rotation. Be careful here because the molding, make sure you don't mar your figure by rotating it where there's clearance issues. His knees we showed earlier, but I don't know if they're, I guess they are kind of double hinged. I don't know how to describe how this works, but he can get a nice deep knee bend like so. And again, there's nice piston details here. The kneecap actually works in tandem with it. Coming down to the foot, he has ankle tilt, ankle rocker. He has toe tilt going up, no tilt going down. And then again, the whole ankle itself is on double hinges there. No rotational joint, but he does get a tilt. One of the areas I wanted to talk about is the back of his legs. So it's not a big deal, but these pieces do sink in. I don't know why they do, but for transformation, you need to have these kind of pulled out. That's why I was looking for my spudger. Do I have a spare spudger? I should have like 28 of them. I don't know where they are. Well, we'll just use this one for now. So what you want to do is kind of pull this out a little bit to fill in that gap. I wish there was like some kind of spring or locking mechanism that would keep this out. But you do want to keep it out. It makes it look a little bit cleaner here. I don't think I missed any more pieces of articulation, but again, there's so many, it's really hard for me to make sure that I got them all. I think I got the main ones that you would be interested in, and then you'll probably find more along the way. But yeah, you can do the side to sides and everything like that. Matrix chamber. Sorry, I'm not looking at the comments at all, I'm realizing, but I'll get to you guys in just a bit. So the matrix chamber is the only piece of articulation in robot mode that I'm not very happy about. And it's not I'm disappointed, but it's just more work than I would like to have done. So because of the way the chest comes out, you can't actually open it this way. You actually have to kind of partially transform it back. You want to rock the arms up and back. And then you would need to push these chest pieces on the side in. And then you can open the chest like we did before. Once you do that, you can move the chest pieces back forward in order to get articulation. And yes, he can grab his matrix chamber open and stuff like that. It takes a little bit of doing just because his joints are really tight. But yeah, he can grab open his chest like so. Again, there is a little hinge that lets you get quick access and easy access to pull this out. But again, once you want to close this, you have to get the arms rotated back, push these chest panels back, tab this back in, pull the chest panels back, forward, and then get the arms down. So definitely an annoying process. The instructions say you have to untab the backpack. You don't actually have to do that. I don't know why they say you have to do that, but you don't have to do that. So it's a little less annoying than what they show in the instructions, but still pretty good. All right, so let me see what else we got here. We already showed this in the beginning, but the Matrix does have handles. They have slots that also correspond to the hand if you want to put them in the hand. I don't know why they did like ball pegs like this. I guess so you can like fold it for some reason if you wanted, but you can do that. I guess theoretically, I didn't really try it, but I guess you could plug it into these side pieces here. Oh no, because the molding, it doesn't work. So yeah, you can't store it there. All right, so let me take a minute to bring out some comparisons of some figures that I think you might be interested in seeing him next to, and then I'll try to answer some questions while doing that. So let's make him look at least not completely like an awkward high school student going through puberty while I go find some comparison figures. All right, so I do have another IDW Prime. It's not one of the same designs, but it's like the only one I have. This is the, is it Generation Toy? I think it's Generation Toy Optimus. Here he is next to Mastermind Creations Megatron. Their Ty, I think, is his name. Who else do we have? Another Prime here. Here's Voyager Prime. This is Siege Voyager Prime. MP44 Prime. I think that's good enough, right? Hopefully that's good enough. All right, so let me look at some questions here. I'm only gonna back up just a little bit because I saw these comments coming in fast and furious, and there's no way I'm gonna be able to get to them all. I'm listening to Pink while playing with Studio Series Grimlock. All right, who do we have here? Pitch it like a baseball. What? Hey, Pop the Trunk. Black Dragon, how's it going? Yeah, even Black Dragon says even the Matrix has articulation. Yeah, it's probably unnecessary. There might be some other. It transforms into a purse. It does kind of look like it transforms into a purse. Oh no, I lost one of the handles. Where'd it go? Oh, the Matrix without one of the handles. All right, let's keep going. Why did I even bother if he's going to scroll back? Sorry. So questions so far. TM is like the best mod ever. So he actually tracks questions for me. Do the hubcaps on the wheels turn with the wheels? Number 2, what exactly does this scale with in terms of other releases? And 3, how is this guy standing up? He's great. So first thing, I guess the hubcaps, they do spin with the wheels. As far as how does he stand up, he stands up really well. Once you get him like planted, like I said, all his joints are really tightly toleranced. No looseness here. The only loose part was like this tolerance tab here for one of the optional positions for his gun. But everywhere else, I actually think he might be too tight in terms of tolerances. He gets kind of hard to pose every once in a while. The only other thing that I noticed is like his legs like to sometimes telescope down a little bit. So you can see like there's a little bit here. I don't know what this is about. I don't know if he's supposed to be down here like this or up here like this. I guess depending on what figure or what display you want it next to, you can get a little bit of difference in height. It's not going to be a lot, but it's something. But yeah, once you get him feet planted where it's like actually even, he's definitely rock solid. I don't really have any. Oh, I said I don't have any concerns in that poke him over. Yeah, but he is actually quite solid. I wish MMC would do a Thunderwing. I think yeah. What series was it when this version of Optimus fought Thunderwing? Yeah, TM should get paid. Yeah, he definitely should. This Maddie Denza says this thing will get 1 billion repaints. Of course it will. It's 1, it's a prime, and 2, it is MMC. They repaint everything. Mike Rogers says 70 people on the stream. Congrats. Thanks. I appreciate it. That's a lot for basically, unless it's an FT figure or a masterpiece new release, I never get this many people on a live stream. It's kind of surprising. Baker Jen says, odd thing is Lazy Asa said they have many repaints planned but no remolds. It's odd because this is a really unique chest design. It would be smart to do some remolding as well. T-Man978, no, Mike says, T-Man978, you think he should get a PS5 from Pig for Life as well? No, TM already has one. He had one before all of us, I think. He plays rock band, though. I think that's what T-Man was trying to say. Eden Tabby says, I'm sure this will be a convention exclusive repaint. I don't bring in Smokey. I'm not gonna bring in Smokey. That makes no sense. Yeah, a lot of people keep saying Stormbringer. Yeah, the original design is Don Figueroa's Stormbringer, but this is actually supposed to be more accurate to the Milne updated design for in IDW. And I forget, was it Autocracy or I don't even know, Autocracy, something like that. Kato's for the win. Sofo says, show the elbow pistons. Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about the elbow pistons. He does have elbow pistons here. I made a note to show that, but it's a hidden detail that you don't really see. But he does have elbow pistons to go along with his knee pistons, to go along with whatever these smokestack kind of pistons there are. And these pistons up here. I should do a better job of posing. I was actually going to research some good poses to do. I tried to do a better one in the thumbnail, but he can do a lot of different poses. Like I said, he can go all the way up. He can't do the what's it called pose. Well, I guess he can because he can bend at this one here. The transforms like at the guitar. He always wants to see this one. But basically any pose you can think of, you can probably do that is reasonable. He can do these kind of really nice, deep, kind of samurai-esque poses. So he can get down on his knees. Of course, then he can do the requisite superhero pose if you want. You can probably do it in many different ways, using the many different joints if you want. We already showed that he can basically go all the way down and touch his toes this way, depending on how you extend them. You probably don't even have to extend them as much as I'm doing here, but you can see he can bend down, grab his toes. He does kind of look like Extendor. Does anybody else remember He-Man's Extendor? I had that toy as a kid, and for some reason, this toy makes me think of Extendor. I think his name was Extendor. Some of the He-Man fans in the group, let me know if you remember Extendor, if that's even his correct name. Oh yeah, Matty Dentist confirmed Extendor. The best pose to test with, yeah, superhero pose, yeah. Matt McCardle, how's it going, Matt? He says, I'm late, so forgive me if anyone already asked. Reformatted doesn't actually usually include diecast. This guy is the exception. No, as far as I know, he doesn't have diecast. Pig for Life, Sofo says, you generally need to start posing, mate. Yeah, I do need to start posing a bit more. So one of the things I will say is I think this guy's a really great figure overall, and I was actually surprised that he's $110. One, because he's Prime and they probably could have gotten more. And two, because he does have so many parts. I was shocked to actually see it only at $110. It is still expensive, I guess, for a figure of this size. But like I said, given all the things that he's able to do, I don't think that anyone will feel cheated at $110. Sorry, I jammed his knee up when I was trying to pose him again. But yeah, he has a lot of great dynamic range in his posing. With his fingers, with his palms, he can probably do a Hadouken pretty easily, or Kamehameha if you're a Dragon Ball fan instead. I just need to figure out how I would go about doing it. But he has so many joints that I don't have any doubts that he could do it. If someone like a pro, like a T-Man, were to try to do it. Can you do a tri-beam? Yeah, tri-beam cannon. We got a Tension-on fan in the crowd. So yeah, he can probably do. Andrew Schatt says, I'll be very curious to see how MMC will use all of the new articulation and other figures. Yeah, so Razorwire / Ron, a buddy of mine locally, he came by and picked up some stuff from his order from my live stream that I did the Livestream Toy Dojo unboxing the other day. And he picked up some stuff and I had him check it out. And he was like, I really hope they start making this level of articulation, or at least something close to this, for a lot of other figures. And I think they'll probably start trying to do more articulation in other figures, but you also have to consider that this guy still transforms, and some transformations aren't going to allow for the same range and same types of joints and same dynamic posing and articulation. But yeah, he can get pretty wide as well. You can probably do like a stiff arm. Do the Heisman. Is it I think it's the wrong leg I'm lifting up. He can do like the iconic movie jumping gun pose. All right, so I think we talked enough about articulation. I think I've answered enough questions. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of how he scales. He's pretty close to head with their Megatron. Let me get some of these guys out of the way. Well, actually, you know what? Let's just put them in the background just so you have them for reference. People end up always asking me, No butterfly. He does have some butterfly joints. Like it's actually there, and you can move the chest piece a little bit, but it's not as much as I was actually expecting. You can get a little bit more, I think, if you rotate this piece forward or make use of it up here. But yeah, he only has a little bit of range. I think you can get more back. Yeah, if you unpeg the backpack, which is obviously cheating, you can get a little bit more back here. But let's go ahead and get this guy transformed back into alt mode. There's actually a lot more going on. It's a lot harder. And there's a lot of small tips that you might need to know so you don't damage your figure, or at least get it properly transformed into his alt mode. So let's start off with the hands, just because you need to get them curled up, as you might expect. All right, same thing here. Let me take off this piece. I don't know where the other matrix handle went. I definitely lost it somewhere. So somebody was asking me previously if I thought the fingers would be very fragile. They gave you 2 extra ones. I showed those off in the beginning. I don't feel like they're too fragile at all. They feel solid enough to me. So I don't feel like I would break them when regular use or transformation. But like I said, they do give you some extra ones. So first thing I like to do is actually come to the backpack and untab this section here and get this backpack piece up like so. Extend this out like that. Get these pieces rotated around and kind of like this. This just makes it easier to kind of manage all the rest of the transformation. While we're here, let's go ahead and tuck the head in. The neck panel goes down like that. This will tab in like so, and then we can straighten this out like that. Now we'll come to the chest, the arms and the chest. We're going to lift this up and back. Then we're going to transform the arms. So go ahead and rotate 90 degrees inward at the arm. Collapse in the hands like so. Get the fists so that the palm is facing down. And then you'll see that there's a tab here and a tab here that go into the shoulder and the forearm here. You do need to raise this up just a slight bit at one of the shoulder joints or both of the shoulder joints. And they tab in like so. Fold this down. While we're here, push the chest back. Actually, before you do that, I kind of recommend pulling this up just because it can cause some clearance issues. So just go ahead and clear that up. Rotate this around. Tab this gray piece into the back, and then rotate this up. And you'll see these tab in here and here. That's one side done. Same thing on the other side here. We're going to get the arms up, collapsed, rotate the fist. Oh, I forgot to rotate the shoulder piece so the silver faces backwards. You want to get this up like this, tabbed in on the shoulder and forearm like so. We're going to push the chest piece back. Rotate this, tab this gray piece in there, rotate the wheel up to tab into the other side of the shoulder and arm. Extend the lower body as well, rotate at the waist, and this is all basically going to fold back like this. When this folds back, I recommend you not forgetting, this is very important, especially these are on some smaller pieces. Rotate these up underneath the waist, okay? There's 2 slots here that have tabs there, and then 1 tab on the spine that goes into the crotch. So you probably have to mess around with this a little bit to get it to all work, but that's where everything needs to go. Just be aware of that when we kind of clean everything else up. Now we'll deal with the lower body. We're going to pull up on the shins, split them in half. This is one area that you don't want to forget. Remember to push up on the thigh cover, the front thigh, to get up like so. And then this piston piece you want to fold up like that. We're going to get the ankle on the double hinge all the way up and flat like that. And we're pretty much good to go here. We're going to repeat on this side, pull out the shin forward, split the shin, push up on the thigh cover, push the piston up and that blue piece down, rotate up on the double hinged ankle to get the foot all the way down and in like so. You want to make sure that the hips are all the way up. So the dropped hips, you want to make sure that they're all the way up. You want to straighten out the legs. And this is where it gets a little tricky. So you want to tab both legs together. I find it easier to take this as one piece. You want to tab both legs together. Remember to get these tabs, these 3 tabs, into the back and into the crotch. Sorry, it's hard to show you. I'm trying to get you an angle where you can see that. Hopefully you saw that. So now it's kind of all flush here, right? Make sure that this hinge is also flush. Once you have that done, as I mentioned, this piece rocks in. If it's pushed in, you're not going to be able to collapse the legs all the way. So this is the area they wanted me to highlight. I'm actually going to do the instruction video. I actually filmed it, but they want a specific video where I talk about this on their channel as well. So you want to make sure that this is pulled out. Get the kneecaps up and spread like this, and then you're just going to collapse the legs in. So be very careful when you push these in. They are going to be a little tight, and you want to make sure that this silver piece goes all the way to the back. All right. So once you've got that done correctly, these two little slots on either side of the forearm actually have a corresponding blue tab, so that when you close these shins up, it tabs into those forearms as well as to the other half of the shin. So mine came undone. Hold on. Oh, this one needs to collapse a little bit more. That's why. There we go. And with that, you have your Optus Pexus back in alt mode, all cleaned up. So that was it. While I go ahead and attach some of these accessories again, just for the alt mode, and take a look for one of the matrix pieces that I may have lost, I'll go ahead and look at some more questions. Once again, we'll do the gray guns this time. Again, they transform by collapsing, folding the handle up, and then doing an over and under tab. They tab in here. For those of you joining in late, like so. Oh, this tab came undone. There we go. Like so. And then the matrix handle goes on the side here. The other one, which I've lost somehow, it went somewhere. I'll have to look. Oh, I found it. I still haven't found my stack card though. I hope I didn't throw it away. That'd be bad. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Let me go ahead and circle back and try to answer some questions now. I know I missed a whole bunch of them. I saw them speeding through. We're talking about RC, bands. Oh, so you guys talking about what figures that you guys are looking forward to? Those are some good ones. Jason Reyes says, does everything feel pretty solid while transforming? Yeah, everything feels very solid. The only pieces, again, that I said be wary of are those little pieces on the back here, back of the calves. Make sure that you have something, or even a fingernail, just to pull it in so that they're not pushed all the way into the all the way into the leg cavity. For some reason, I must have done something a little bit wrong here, because they're not, the two halves are not solidly staying together for some reason. Oh, because I think I didn't have both of the legs. But yeah, the other thing is, again, they didn't tell you that the top here, where the forearms are, these blue pieces inside of the knees do go in there, and that also keeps the legs together. If you don't do that, that means you didn't collapse the legs enough, which means you're not going to be able to get these closed all the way, and they'll keep splitting. But yeah, it feels very solid. Some people often ask about the weight, so let me go ahead and do that real quick. Any sprue marks? That's actually a good question, Mike. I actually went out of my way to look for some, and I could not see any sprue marks on this figure. Like, none. Except on these gray pieces, like here. But on the red and the blue, I couldn't find any sprue marks. Like, I thought there would be some obvious ones, even with the paint, but I could not really find any. I don't even know if that's a sprue mark. I think that might just be some paint, leftover paint. I'm not sure, but very few, if any, sprue marks that I could see. Thanks for reminding me to talk about that. So as far as weight goes, he's about 9.5 ounces. How much is that in grams? 270 grams. Oh, here's my spudger. I found it. Jamie Carpenter says, sorry, joined late, but this is the articulation as good as advertised. Yeah, the articulation is really, really great. The only area that I was actually a little bit disappointed on was actually the shoulder butterfly joint. While he does have one, because of the molding, he can't make full use of it. So it's definitely not as much as, say, MPRC or something like that. The wheels are solid plastic, not rubber. Antoine says, oh, he didn't have one in the comics. I'm thinking of Orion Pax. I'm not sure. Dave Goins asked about stress marks. I didn't see any on mine. There is no trailer. Thanks, T-Man, for mentioning it. No LEDs or for eyes. No, there's no LEDs for the Matrix either. Although I imagine it might be fairly easy to put one in. I don't know. For those of you guys who are joined late, I showed this in the very beginning, but since we're already here, you can open up the chest in alt mode as well and store the Matrix quite easily. It's much easier to do this in, oops, no, I didn't tab it in correctly. No. But yeah, you can store it in using these little slots on the bottom. There we go. Nice. Can he give an encouraging speech? All primes can do that, but he doesn't have the matrix of leadership, so he doesn't have the wisdom of all the previous primes. So he might not be that great at speeches or pizza parties, apparently, according to Chris P. I don't think you get this dude for alt mode. Yeah, the alt mode is not that interesting. I don't even know if they've shown an alt mode for the Milne one. Maybe they did for Dom Figueroa's run in Stormbringer, but I'm not sure. Memo says, can he do an Iron Man landing pose? Yes, he can, and I know you're trolling me, Memo. What do you mean? What is in his chest? Oh, you did catch me. So Orion Pax gave up the Matrix when he became this design or whatever. But you're right. I guess he is a prime because he has a Matrix in his chest. He caught me. He caught me. Chris caught me. All right. Rung, yeah, we haven't seen Rung yet. I mean, like, I haven't seen Rung in person yet, just the renders. It definitely an interesting. On Memo says trolling. What's that? Okay. All right. So yeah, that's really it for the review. If you guys have any other questions or if you guys want any other quick comparisons, I guess I should have done that in robot mode, but hopefully you guys got a good idea previously. I did a good comparison. He's basically head-to-head with the Megatron here. So he's a pretty good size for, I guess, what I would consider Voyager, maybe, I guess, new leader-ish, if you're talking about the new leaders. But definitely, he is a really good size. He's very solidly built. I definitely recommend him if you're at all an IDW or a Optimus fan. He's one of the best Optimuses that we've gotten in a really, really long time. Not to mention, he's probably one of the most articulated primes that we've gotten in a long time. I'm noticing why I don't know why this one arm is not tabbing in correctly. Oh, that's because he's not, the arm's not fully collapsed. Well, I don't know. It was working before. Anyway, you guys get the idea. This is close enough. So hopefully, guys, you enjoyed the review. I really enjoyed it. I really do. Favorite Optimus Prime of all time? Of all time? That's a hard one. I think he's a very fun figure to have. And again, in terms of articulation, I don't think he loses out at all to MP44. He has some points of articulation that are much better than MP44, but MP44 also has a lot of great articulation as well. So I think in terms of the most articulated primes, it's definitely a battle between these two. But in terms of a figure that I would want to play with and pose more regularly, I definitely think I would prefer this guy over MP44 just because he feels more solidly built. He's a better size for me to just play around with on the regular. Oh, I think I see why. His hips were turned, so I don't think that was tabbing in. I could be wrong here though. This is just the OCD in me trying to figure out why he's not tabbing in. Okay, there we go. But yeah, I think he's definitely one of my favorite figures lately and maybe of all time. What other? The Make Toys Prime was also pretty good in terms of articulation. I thought it was I don't have it in my collection, but a lot of people love that one as well. So that might be another runner for one of the best ever, but I think I prefer this guy. All right, well, I think that we're coming to the end. We're about on the hour. Thanks to everyone who joined the live stream. I will be back with a bunch more. If you saw my live stream of my unboxing, I have a bunch of other stuff. I probably will do a review of the 3.0 Soundwave from the Bumblebee movie. I will probably do an updated review of Downbeat, maybe just a quick review, not a full transformation since I've already done that before. And I have a few others that I have in my back pocket that I need to do. So yeah, Striker Manus, that's what I was thinking, David. Thanks for that. So that's it for today, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks T-Man for pulling people over from your stream as well as being a great mod. Thanks T-Man for all your modding as well, even though you're not as good and not my favorite of the two mods that I have. All right, thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good one.